Should we take that number of
I am more than delighted and honored to present the welcome address of our August Institute, Jackson Institute of Innovation and Leadership, affectionately called JIL. So a Chinese poet once said in 500 BC, if you are planning ahead 1 year, plant a seed. If you are planning ahead 10 years, plant a tree. If you are planning ahead 100 years, educate the people. So JIL is the brainchild of a team of educationists, industry professionals, and of course, Professor and Mrs. Jackson, who hitherto are the founders of Jackson Educational Complex, which runs Jackson College of Education, JCE. JCE has, over the last 11 years, produced over 13,000 sound graduates for Ghana through its iconic Diploma in Education via distance learning. The college is steadily achieving its aim by putting a quality trained teacher in urban and especially rural Ghana. It has also made giant strides in offering a Bachelor of Education programs, and that is, we are hoping to start from the next academic year, January 21-22. All programs will be degree from then, and I use this opportunity to invite all our diploma graduates to join our unparalleled Top Hat programs, specially crafted by our model writers to earn you the degree. JIL has been established with a sustainable Ghana and Africa in mind. The modus operandi of our educational system needs to realign itself with the future of the country. From the first to the third industrial revolutions, the educational system was largely a model for transmission of knowledge and the ability to keep and remember those facts so as to aid in production. So for example, if you are working in a car plant, all you need to know is the specific portion of the car you are working on and be able to remember it and do it repeatedly. That was then. It's worked well. However, the world has moved on and has moved on several notches. And yet, our educational system largely remains constant with the same old way of doing things. In the 21st century and the future ahead, the experts have codenamed it the Fourth Industrial Revolution, or some refer to as Industry 4.0, and in education, they call it Education 4.0. This era no longer survives on transmission of knowledge, but transformation of knowledge. The precipitous rise and advancement in technology now means that AI, that is artificial intelligence, and robots have taken over the repetitive jobs. What they haven't done yet is being able to be rational, think like human beings, and they are not empathetic, as a human may exhibit. Hence, our educational focus should be channeled to training people who are able to do the jobs of the future, most of which have not even been created yet. How do you teach somebody today for a potential future job, a potential future uncreated job? Distinguished guests, this is the task for our educational system. And this, among others, is the primary reason why we have Jackson Institute of Innovation and Technology. Innovation and Leadership. At JIL, we believe the 21st century students should be competent in a variety of soft and hard skills. The students should be Promethean, agile, be able to think critically, and have the flair for entrepreneurship, and inculcate innovation and reputable leadership at all levels of society. JIL has a multi-dimensional facet. It is a business and technology institute with the aim of bridging the gulf between academia and the industry. Our primary aim is for students to successfully bring innovation to business by doing things via creativity. No, they do things differently via creativity. We want industry to join forces with academia so that the students from our institutions are not only theoretically trained, but possess the practical know-how for solving challenges. Above all, we want our students to bring excellence through quality to industry. We recognize that our students can only do this if their education allows them, and they are able to exhibit the art of leadership in an ethical manner to serve humanity. Due to the above, the values of JAIL are practicality, employability, and quality. We also have auxiliary values which are critical as innovation, creativity, and entrepreneurship. We have the ultimate belief that if majority of us hold these values, the destiny of the country will also see a transformation. In the light of the aforementioned, Jackson Educational Complex has partnered with the Advotech Group, the largest private education provider in South Africa. Advotech also operates a subsidiary which is the Independent Institute of Education, which is also the largest provider of private higher education in South Africa. So let me tell you a bit of the Advotech Group. So the Advotech Group is a Johannesburg Stock Exchange listed company in South Africa, operating with the education and recruitment industries in Africa. It's one of the sub-Saharan Africa's top private education holdings group, with 18 established brands representing a collective 340 years of education experience from kindergarten to tertiary. Advotech owns Africa's largest registered private education provider, or private university, we'll call it here, the Independent Institute of Education, the IIE. The IIE is also internationally accredited with the British Accreditation Council, BAC, and offers the almost 127 registered and accredited qualifications from higher certificate to master's level through well-known and respected educational brands. Some of them are Vega Schools, Capsicum Culinary Schools, Private Hotel Schools, Rosebank College, Varsity College, the University of Africa in Zambia, and so on, to name but a few. Qualifications are available for full or part-time study in either contact mode, that is campus face-to-face, or distance mode, and now obviously virtual. The group also operates a schools division, under which brands including Crawford International Schools, Trinity College, Trinity House, which is a purely Christian-based school, Abbott's College, Maragon, Centuris Colleges, Pinnacle Colleges, the Bridge Assisted Learning Schools, McKinney Schools, Gaborone International School, and junior colleges all around the east and southern part of Africa. The schools division has seen a constant growth in both the number of students as well as sites over the past few years. They have grown both organically and also by acquisitions, buying other schools. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Chairman, our programs, what we are going to do here in this beautiful building. We will all agree that a vast number of programs that I just named from the IIE, which is also British accredited, are tried and tested in South Africa. Hence, JAIL is spoiled for choice. However, we intend to commence the Bachelor of Business Administration, General and Marketing options later next year. We will gradually curate a list of instructors, conferences, seminars, facilitators, and industry partners for the other programs which we will run in due course. The program is blended, that is, it's virtual with face-to-face conferences, and seminars. We have highly qualified and trained staff on the technology we have in use here. We will be available to assist both students, instructors, and facilitators. The programs are designed to aid learners to be transformative by having regular contact with industry through internships, placements, public lectures, especially from luminaries in their field, to enlighten the academics on what is happening on the ground. This would eventually produce graduates who are cut out for not only the job market, but come in with experience and can be bold with your creativity. JAIL offers chartered programs. JAIL is also liaising with professional bodies such as the Chartered Institute of Management and Accounting, the CIMA, the Chartered Institute of Chartered Accountants, ICA Ghana, Chartered Institute of Bankers, the CIB, and Chartered Institute of Business Management, CIBM, to prepare our graduates for chartered courses. Hence, graduates from the Jackson Institute of Innovation and Leadership will be trained to gain the above-named professional certifications and more as part of their study, and will qualify for significant exemptions due to the substantial alignment of our models to their course structure and the requirements of these professional bodies. JAIL and JEC is excited to announce that Jackson Educational Complex is now taking a transformation to another level. Realizing the quality of our education populace is the key to sustainable development, JEC has therefore partnered with NIIT in India, and this is the NIIT Limited in India, to provide Industry 4.0 informational technology courses. So let me put a caveat here. This is not the same NIIT in Ghana. We're going to do totally different courses. Industry 4.0, I'm going to list some of the courses, and then you will know. To all our students, and guess what? This is open to the general public as well. We will offer courses in blockchain, artificial intelligence, business analytics, business analysis, especially in the area of big data, which is crucial for the development of Ghana and Africa as a whole in the next frontier. There will be rigorous training in data science, Python, not the snake, but the software. As they say, data is the next oil. You know, we don't want to be late in the new oil, just like we were late in the former oil. We offer CPDs, continuous professional development. Lifelong learning is the key to the future, and the future is now. As such, we have obtained accreditation from the Nurses and Midwifery Council to run leadership courses for health staff. So health leadership for all the health staff, nurses, technicians, doctors, and those who are in health. There would be provision of simulated learning on the various health technologies available to update and upgrade our nurses and health staff and medical staff in the hospitals on best practices around the world. We will also show them how all these technologies are used. That's why it's simulated. So we will have practical lessons where they can all get to know exactly how these machines are used. As an education institute, we are also going to provide professional development courses for our graduates and the general teaching profession on best practices asynchronously to students and participants. What that means is that wherever you are in the world, you can join in our lectures. If you're not able to join in, it will be recorded for you, and you can view it at any time of your choice. We have learning hats at the rear of this property, where students can sit comfortably to reflect and think about their solutions being proposed, what they are thinking about. This facility is filled with innovation right from its core. Our lecture halls, all-in-one chairs, were modified and done in Ghana. So we have a chair and table combination. I'm sure we'll have a tour. You'll all see all of these. We have innovatively modified it to our peculiar use, and all of that was done in Ghana. We have beautiful benches at the rear, and it was also created in Ghana. We will have a demonstration of them. The facility is equipped with state-of-the-art presentation software, which allows each participant to follow the presentation by the presenter on their phones, iPads, tablets, or any smart device. So anybody giving a presentation on the PowerPoint or whatever, if you cannot see the screen in front of you, you can just take out your phone, connect to it, and view the presentation on your phone. There is a 21 computer suite fully equipped with present technologies, and we are also at the final stage negotiations with Pearson VUE to conduct all the computer-aided exams, such as the chartered exams, SATs, GRE, etc. in Kumasi. We are also creating a state-of-the-art audiovisual studio for a multi-purpose dissemination of content. This will allow lectures to be recorded and viewed by students as well anytime on their own choice. Mr. Chairman, 20 years ago, the best internet speeds was just about 2 megabits per second. I'm happy to announce that this facility can mount about 100 megabits per second of high-speed fiber optic transfer for both downloads and uploads at all times, and we even have the capacity to even go higher at peak times, making it feasible for users of this facility to connect to the world at ease. We thought, we dreamt, we planned, we have initiated, God gave us the grace, but we cannot do this without you. Thank you for joining us in this august function to launch the future of learning. The future of learning is today, and those who will make it are those who learn to unlearn and to relearn.
Protocol observed. This morning, I am the most happiest person for the simple reason that I'm the mayor of the city. And with this exploit, if this important educational institute is going to be launched, then it adds up to the things that have happened under my period. Jackson Education Complex, as we all know, first gave birth to Jackson College of Education. And today, we are witnessing another birth to Jackson Institute of Innovation and Leadership. When I was giving the program, anyone who is having the program, you can turn to the first page and you will see how the Jackson Institute of Education, Innovation and Leadership at the left side, how it has been designed into a school. What does it tell? Has stayed up till now, and we have a rich culture because of good leadership. We have had as many as 16 occupants of the golden stool. So if today the management is telling us about innovation, first of all, they've been able to demonstrate it right this morning. Let's clap for them. To have done what we are witnessing this morning. And as a city, for you to have trained 13,000 students, it means that you've added so much to the economy of Kumasi. All these 13 graduates would have lived in this city for more than 3 years. Then a lot of them would definitely go for hostels. They will pay money. Look at their expenditure budget for all these 3 years. So if this morning you are adding another one to it, then it means that you are adding more money to the economy of Kumasi. Thank you, and may God help you to do more.
Amen.
Mr. is of the belief that ensuring an improvement in the lives of the populace in Ghana is to make quality education inaccessible to all Ghanaians, irrespective of their background. In our present knowledge-based economy, tertiary education plays an important role in the creation, dissemination, and application of knowledge to meet our developmental needs. It also has a role in the strengthening of our entire educational system and fostering synergies in our entire economy. Mr. Chairman, I must say, the people of Kumasi are very privileged to have such an institution in our beautiful city, the Jackson Institute of Innovation and Leadership. This institution will not be a place only for acquiring knowledge, but will always serve as a working environment which will employ people to work for the institution. This will reduce the unemployment rates in the country. Mr. Chairman, as the mayor of the city, I'm really proud and feel honored that as a team, you have proven that once determination is there and the will to achieve is embedded in the soul, everything is possible. I see this institution and can liken it to the snap-yaba. Very small, but when it grows, it becomes so big. So there's a connection here. There's a connection here. When the college was being inaugurated, I was among the team that were invited. Madam assured us that it was going to be something great. It was not going to be only acquiring knowledge, but the students that will enter that place will come out in a very different way. And indeed, a lot of people are bearing testimonies upon testimonies about the students that graduated from that institute and the way they are performing so great in the employment environment. Let us thank the teaching staff for the wonderful work that they are doing. Kumasi Metropolitan Assembly, this morning, there's one request that we also want to put before the institute. Immediately I saw the word innovation. The assembly is there to solve problems. Kumasi Metropolitan Assembly is there to solve the problems of the people. And once we have the Institute of Innovation and Leadership, there must be a collaboration between the institute and the assembly so as to be able to solve the problem of the city. We are in a city where every day more than 1.5 million people traverse through the city. And we are in the city where we are fortunate to be having an international airport which is very, very far in advance. So it means that those who are doing business in this city will have to start rethinking, will have to start replanning. That is why when I heard from the manager that you are introducing a course in the area of consultancy, or you'll be offering consultancy services, that was the area I picked. Because if you are able to fit our business community, if you are able to educate them well, if you are able to give them good counseling, definitely they will take advantage of the numbers. There is one major problem which businessmen, businesswomen in this city will all testify to it. We have problems about succession planning. This city has produced giants who did well in putting up a lot of businesses, but after their demise, their businesses have gone down. And the names are there, which I don't want to be mentioning them, that they were names that were known in the whole of West Africa. And it has not happened just 1, 2, but it has happened to more than 10 people, 10 great giants. So it means that the institute must take notice here that there is a problem to be solved. Again, apart from the courses that you have outlined here, There's one area which I also be much interested, because we are living in a kingdom and we have a rich history. Tourism is one thing that must also come out clear. We have a lot of hotels here, but one thing that we need to do is how do we position our hotels in a way to be able to become formidable, to take advantage of all the numbers. How do you partner with the traditional authorities? Because here we have Kumasi Traditional Council, here we have Asante, who is the king of the kingdom. And any time he's having his Akwaside, he's able to bring dignity from all over the world into this great city. How do you partner with such traditional council to be able to make economic gains out of it? You have done it, and today too you are doing it. And my prayer is that next year or next time when you invite here, another bed is also going to be outdoors. Thank you very much for the wonderful work that you've done.
All duly observed. It is indeed a profound honor for me and a privilege to be invited to the official inauguration of the Jackson Institute of Innovation and Leadership. I wish to thank you all for the invitation and also commend the dynamism and enthusiasm of your institution. It is a moment to share vision, experience, and a moment to build more bridges and create stronger partnership for this budding relationship. On an occasion like this, Mr. Chairman, allow me to confess that of all public speaking engagement that I'm invited to, I am particularly partial to invitations to participate in programs relating to education and skills development in Africa. That being the case, on the stage at this moment, I feel extremely favored. I was going to claim to be the happiest before the mayor spoke, but he has since taken the honor, and I cannot be seen to be competing with my host on that one. He will win on a home decision. Mr. Chairman, Ghana is a country which stands out through its boundless diversity, with its people deeply rooted in a rich culture and heritage. The soul and spirit of this bountiful land and its beautiful people are complemented by a genuine welcoming spirit. Ghanaians, when they say akwaba or welcome in any native language, they actually mean it. And you will be made to feel welcome. Thank you for that. On behalf of the government and the people of South Africa, our warmest greetings and good wishes for your continued good health and for the prosperity and well-being of the friendly people of Ghana, and to express the sentiment that relations between our two countries and people will continue to grow for our mutual benefit and well-being for years to come. Mr. Chairman, the strong bonds of friendship between South Africa and Ghana have produced fruitful results over the years. Our two countries continue to enjoy close cooperation in various sectors such as agriculture and food security, institutional capacity building, science and technology, trade and investment, education, and skills development. In December 2019, during his working visit to Ghana, President Cyril Ramaphosa and President Akufo-Addo signed an agreement elevating our bilateral relations to a binational commission chaired by the heads of state. Mr. Chairman, today's event is a realization of a vision and a culmination of a dream by the management of the Jackson Educational Complex and the AdTech Group. The Jackson Educational Complex has been known as a premium private educational brand and AdTech as the largest private educational investor in Africa. The inauguration of this project, with the background of these two great institutions, will impact much needed critical skills to youth, leading to a path of self-reliance, growth, and progress. In today's world, knowledge and skill are the currency of the 21st century. And an investment in this direction bears the highest yields. South Africa is delighted by this partnership with the Jackson Institute of Innovation and Leadership for bilateral innovation, continental creativity, and global entrepreneurship. Mr. Chairman, we all can agree that education is the most powerful tool that can change the world. The Jackson Institute of Innovation and Leadership, affiliated to the Independent Institute of Education, South Africa, has an admirable goal, this being to develop, train, and produce innovative leaders and professionals with practical, employable, and quality skills for the development and stewardship of the society. What these two institutions seek to achieve is to be a unmatched tertiary institution with a myriad of disciplines that can cater for the jobs of tomorrow by providing an unmatched experiential learning opportunities for the improvement and continual training of leaders and professionals for business and society here in Ghana, South Africa, Africa, and ultimately the world at large. Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen, the Institute of Innovation and Leadership and the IIE intend to produce leaders who are innovative, fully equipped, and ready to influence the society through commitment, determination, loyalty, integrity. They need our support, and all we here should partake and be involved. It is common practice on an occasion such as this to afford your keynote speaker a little latitude. Claude, I would like your indulgence to address a few things, perhaps even speak from the heart. Firstly, you handsome sons and beautiful daughters of Africa who are now parents, and those who will become parents in the future. Take time to be in the lives of your children. Throwing money at your children can never be a substitute for a father's love or a mother's love. I'm saying this when I recall my own personal circumstances, that the happiest days of my life was when my father was coming home. During the apartheid system, our fathers were taken, they had to go and work in the mines, so they could not be with us. And whenever he came, he would guide me, he would counsel me. I still remember to this day the messages and the guidance and the love that he gave me. Whenever mom came from work, it was that affirmation of love and security that all is well, and that I will be okay. Today, because of many things and innovations and all, we hardly ever have family time, where dad sits down and talks to the children. We can all be in the same room. Another one will be in Japan, maybe buying some socks in Japan. The other one will be buying iTunes in America. The other one will be in South Africa trying to get in. So we may be in the same room, but all over. It's well and good because it's the sign of the times. But what I'm saying is this: make time for your children. Teach them while they're still young to appreciate the value of hard work, and counsel them against the temptation of instant gratification. Why I'm saying this? Most of the things that we have remembered or what we have become, there are times when you can turn back and point where either you went upright or you went left. And all the time, family is very important. Allow me to quote from the good book when it says, "Train up your child in the way he should go, and when he's old, he will not depart." So what we do as parents, as fathers, as uncles, as mentors, from a very young age, what you do stays with those children. So teach them the way to grow up. Teach them the value of hard work. Teach them to go to school. Teach them to come to research institutions such as this. Teach them that you have to invest in your future. A previous speaker was talking about a seed, a tree, and educating the mind. We're going to do them all. Education that we are planning here for. I'm happy that when you were speaking, that's why I say I was going just to speak from the heart. You were talking of about 100 years combined of teaching, of a selfless people who decided to contribute towards the improvement of others, the education, the development of others. And by so doing, contributed towards the development not only of Ghana, but of the region, and laying a foundation for the development of the African continent. The other issue is this, and the clergy that are here, I will speak on your behalf without you giving me permission to do so. There is a tendency, which is linked to what I've just said, of some of us who think that we, or believe that we have heard what they are saying, when we actually have not heard it. We shout at the top, go home and do nothing. And when you don't receive, you begin to doubt the power of the man of God. Say, he must be weak, that one. I'll go to another church and shout a little louder when I arrive there. Maybe I'll receive. For as long as we are cheap labor, for as long as we do not innovate, invent, research, we will continue to chime out cheap labor and cheap resources. So by developing our skills in all different sectors, it will teach you not to export gold, but to export jewelry. It will teach you not to export cobalt and related substances, but actually to make fools yourself. It will teach you not to take your iron ore and export it as it is, and buy it in many shapes and forms when it comes back. But for you to begin to make those cars, to make those aeroplanes, and all that you can imagine, that can only be achieved when we develop our skills. There's a time that when I'm speaking to people and I'm complaining, Chairman, that the concept of an African being a foreigner in an African continent is itself a foreign concept. Let me keep quiet and just walk there and let anybody tell me I'm not Ghanaian. Maybe when I speak, I think the girl, no, it's not one. I've had many people address me. I take its tree, I take its, and all I do is smile back and say, well. Because you look at me, you see an African. We are all Africans. But what we have done, or what we still continue to suffer from, are the legacies of that apartheid. So we must overcome that. Because right now, apartheid and colonialism, right now, Ghana is the chair of the Africa Continental Free Trade Area. The Secretariat is here, the SG already arrived. It means this is where the tar hits the road. This is where now, as Africans, we must begin to remove these obstacles that have said to an African in Africa that is a foreigner. And we will overcome that. I will be closing soon, but allow me to say we are part of the natural world. These young elephants. These gangsters, they formed themselves into gangsters and they were terrorizing every rhino. The next big thing it's a lion, and then there will be a rhino, thinking they are being challenged. So there was a problem. How do we conclude? How do we deal with this problem, Minister? The international success. May I express once again my deepest thanks to the management of the Jackson Educational Complex for such achievements with the AdTech Group, its leadership and commitment in establishing the Jackson Institute of Innovation and Leadership. Long live Ghana-South Africa relations. Long live African unity. Thank you all for your attention.
After booted out of parliament by their people because they never saw them on TV. And how can you be a teacher when you don't like to talk? So when I do the two combinations, you expect that who give you the mic, we're in trouble. And I may talk, but I'll not talk too much. How many minutes do I have? In Compass, and now you have another institution for their vision. Without their vision, will not be here. I know how it is to dream of a project, a school, and give birth to it and nurture it and make sure it grows to the expectation of others and sometimes to exceed your own expectation. All around the world, it is now known that education is what transforms a nation. Education is not just a piece of the puzzle, it is the whole puzzle. Research by the Boston Consulting Group in the US indicates that nations that are transforming themselves in developing countries have paid attention to education and governance. And they said these two indicators are the one that drives everything. And in fact, they even say that education drives the quality of governance. And in terms of health, the education and health symbiosis is clear. And everybody knows that when children are educated and they go to school up to senior high school, your health indicators even change. Young women who have secondary education invariably have different health issues, especially during childbirth. So there are a number of benefits that education brings, and that is why it is now documented that if you want to change your nation, focus on education. I'll tell you something, just a story, anecdotally, not based on research. But there's a town in my constituency called Eduaben. I got a call from the Member of Parliament that they are going to do a community graduation ceremony. And I said, community graduation ceremony, what is this about? And they said that for the first time in the history of our town, 50 students have graduated from high school. Never happened before. And therefore, we are going to celebrate and we want you to be there. This is the seeds of transformation that changes a community. The junior high school has about 30 students. Every year, only about 2 students were going to high school from the junior high because the parents could not afford. Then comes free senior high school, introduced by Nana Danko Akufo-Addo and the New Patriotic Party, and the student gets opportunity. And then they go back, those who have been home for 4 years, 3 years, decided to go. So they have 50 students who have graduated this year. And they are back in the village. this is not the Duabin citizens who live in Kumasi. It is the Duabin citizens who live in the village. And 50 of them are back. And the town is saying, we can't believe that we have 50 graduates from high school. And imagine if 25 of them get to go to the university. That town is changing. Education is what transforms a society. I've always asked myself, what if you have 50 students from a junior high school, 40 get to go to senior high school, out of the 40, 30 get to go to the university. If you do that for 10 years, what happens to that village? I did not mean for education. Education is what transforms societies. You see, in the 1980s, when some of us were in the university, the government, and actually the government of Ghana at the time, made a decision that subsidies for university students were going to be removed. Those were the days where the Bangrada we all enjoyed were removed and were up in arms. There were demonstrations against the government of Private Minister John Rawlings as to why he was taking away the allowance. But at that time, there was a consensus among the development partners around the world that government should not focus on higher education, that they should rather focus on primary and secondary education, and that higher education was for the benefit of the individuals that were pursuing it. That was what they thought should be the norm. And therefore, government decided removing allowances from universities. Then they realized that they were wrong in the 1990s. Because higher education, then research was showing that it was higher education that was leading the transformation agenda of many countries. You go to Brazil and you think about, or you hear of the Embraer aircraft. We know our flies Embraer aircraft. It was invented by a Brazilian university in partnership with MIT of USA. Then you go to Malaysia and there's a medication called Typhidot, also invented by a university. Then you begin to see about inventions around the world, and we saw that those development partners and World Bank, they were so wrong. But we missed it. As we focus on primary and secondary education, and not even secondary, they told us to focus on primary. So we even neglected secondary education in terms of access. So all these years I've been called Ghana, where you have people who are very bright and talented, we decided that the poor was not going to get access to secondary education. So if you are poor, after primary school and junior high school, you have finished school. So if you go to a Duabin, that's what they will have told you. That's a junior high school, you have finished. And I remember seeing young men and women wearing their kente cloth in the villages, taking pictures, celebrating that they had finished school. And then the well-to-do, the educated, and the rich knew they had not finished school, and that they were finishing school at the university level. I remember as a child, my father, who was uneducated, there was something about him. He visited our school anytime he came back from his village in the western region. So in Jatsi, if you grew up there around the time I was growing up, everybody knew my dad. He visited all classrooms in the various schools. There were about 3 middle schools, and he'd go to every one of them. He'd go to the primary schools, and he was there to talk to the children and tell them that take advantage of the opportunity of education, because if I was educated, I would be in a different place. He wanted the children to know. He was the education ambassador, and he did that faithfully. And he spoke with my head teacher, who told him that I was very smart, and told him that I would go to the university, but my dad couldn't pronounce the university. So he asked him, and then the head teacher, Mr. Noma, explained to him that university is the last school. So he came and told me, your head teacher says you are very intelligent, and you go to the last school. So I was the few who knew middle school was not the end of it. And that I was going to go to the last school. And I remember my last class at the University of Southern California when I finished my last PhD course. I got out of the building, I got emotional, I cried. Because that was not my vision, it was a vision of my father, who was telling me I'll go to the last school and be seen as the engine for transformation of nations. Recently we had, maybe one of you have heard my story of meeting with South Koreans who came to the Ministry of Education, and they were there to give us a loan to start to build the Bunso campus of the Eastern University. And they had a meeting with us at the Ministry of Education, very interesting meeting I'll never forget. South Korean Exim Bank came there and they showed us 3 graphs. The first graph was the first graph was actually the per capita income of Ghana and South Korea in 1960. And they said, hey, 1960, you guys were richer than us. Our per capita income was $189 and theirs was $158. 1960, we were richer than South Korea. So they came to remind us. And then they showed us the second graph now, and of course they are way ahead in terms of per capita income. And then they said, why do you guys think we've done better than you? It was a game of shame, fortunes, without moving that numbers up. Because if you don't have the critical mass that can think critically. You don't have the critical mass that can do things differently and innovate to transform your country. So our 17% have to change. But how can that change without free senior high school? If you have only 50% moving from junior high to high school, and out of that, only about 30% pass the WASI. How do you get 50% gross tertiary enrollment ratio? Impossible. So that is why we are about 17%. The math is right. But you cannot transform your nation with that 17%. You cannot look at the socio-economic transformation of your nation. They want me to look in the camera. But I want to look at faces. You cannot do that transformation without looking at tertiary enrollment ratio and moving it up. But not only are you looking at access, because in education, 3 things you have to look at is access, quality, and relevance. You have to move the 3 concurrently. If you don't move the 3 concurrently, you can improve access. If the quality of teaching and learning is poor, you will still not transform yourself. And that is why I commend Jackson Education Complex for the great job that they are doing with their teacher education program. Education program that is so innovative that when people finish, they can't wait to go to the villages and teach and sacrifice for the well-being of children in rural areas. So the way you teach the children, the way the students learn, which we call pedagogy, is what adds to the access and transform your society. So if you simply do what is called the rote memorization, the chew, pour, pass, and they say forget, but I call it chew, pour, fail, and be forgotten. Because not many people who pour it pass it. A number of times they don't pass it. Rote memorization is not going to transform Ghana. A teaching environment where the most creative people are not given the opportunity to transform society cannot change our nation. Whenever I visit a school and high school, what I hear most of the time is that visual art students are the least intelligent in the school. And I say to myself, if they in fact selected the course, visual art students are the most creative in the school. Except that they can't memorize, but they can create. Look at what is called the new Bloom's taxonomy. Bloom's taxonomy is the guideline for teaching and learning. Now, the lowest level of teaching and learning is understanding and comprehension. When you hear people saying why, how, when, That's the lowest level of learning. The highest level of learning is creation. When people are creating something, when they are drawing, when they are dancing, that is the highest level of learning, creation. But we rather adore those who memorize at the lowest level of learning. But that is not how you transform your country. So as you improve access, we also have to look at the quality of our tertiary education. Recently there was a meeting, I was not there, so I'm quoting, with vice chancellors and other people, and there was a big argument about the quality of the graduates coming out of tertiary. And one of the professors said, you don't give us quality products from senior high school. They come to us and they can't read, they can't write. And you want us to transform them into great intellectuals, it's not going to happen. So when I heard that comment, my response after the fact was that universities should see themselves as recycling plants. If garbage comes in, a refined product must come out. And if you are not willing to do that, you shouldn't exist as a university. So the new institute that you are bringing online, I'll tell you this. For me, I don't understand why I did land economy at KUST. And we're all in the same course. We all took the same courses. In other jurisdictions, it doesn't happen that way. You all be in land economy, but you do a placement exam to tell land economy department whether you can write well, you can read well, you can do mathematics. Now, if you can't, then you have a placement entry level course, an access course to enrolling. And there's nothing wrong with that. So yes, we are all in land economy, but it doesn't mean that if I can't write, I should take the same English class with you. I should be made to go and take a writing course. You go to MIT, all these universities have writing. University of Chicago has a writing program. So you go to the university, all right, but you take your placement exam, and they see that you cannot write. Yes, they've accepted you, but you are going to do English 99, which is a pre-collegiate course that enables you to improve your writing skills so that you can compete just like anybody else. So these are innovations that I hope you bring to your institutes, so that if somebody cannot write, but they memorize and pass the WASI, because when you memorize, you are using the author's grammar, right? Yeah, so the author of the book, because you memorize so well that you have your comma, everything is in place and you pass. But you don't have your own grammar. So if the university find out that in fact you don't have your own grammar, they have to teach you how to do grammar. That way you can come out as somebody who has gone to a university, and then thereby we are improving the quality. We can improve the quality if we begin to emphasize that the primary school level teachers are going to be trained for 2 years and they do 1 year practicals, are teaching, and that is it. That is why now in Ghana, we are no longer doing 2 years and 1 year practice teaching. We have 4 years. And when you finish 4 years, where you've had the opportunity to advance yourself in reading and writing and arithmetic, then you'll be able to help the students. All the countries that have done well, no place where teachers being trained for 2 years. How can you spend 2 years to master the content and then pedagogy? You can't do that. But we're sitting in this country, are kidding ourselves that our students can be taught by teachers who have been trained for 2 years. It has changed. The president directed that it had to change, and it has changed. So now colleges of education are doing bachelor's degrees, and the good news about that is that when teachers graduate from the 4 year, they don't have to go and do top-up. They're already done. They also start at a higher salary level, which I know my colleague teachers like. So things are changing, but we are at the step where we are laying the foundation for a major socioeconomic transformation. We have to partner with private individuals and do a better job changing our nation. But you see, we cannot also stop our quality. We have to move on to the relevance of the education system to the socioeconomic needs of the country. You see, when You go to universities, and most students are doing sociology. There's nothing wrong with that. I don't see anything wrong with it. You see, it's what you use it for. It's what sociology teaches you. If sociology teaches you critical thinking, you can become a banker. You can become a programmer after that. A number of things can be done with a sociology background. A nephew of mine did sociology, and now he's a medical doctor in the US, and it won't happen in Ghana. Maybe one day it will happen. He did sociology, and then did 1 year intensive science course after he graduated. And when he went for his medical school interview, they loved him. They immediately selected him because they said that you did sociology, so you understand the patients when they come to you. You understand the way human beings behave. So you'll be better able to treat the patients right than somebody who only did science. So now he's a medical doctor. But in God's Ghana, go there and tell the professors that, Professor, with all due respect, that I did sociology and I want to be a minister. Are you crazy? and then one professor will call another friend and say, can you believe it? There's a young man here who did sociology and he wants to do medicine. He wants to come and destroy the professor. Very creative, innovative, but he will never get to become an engineer in Ghana. These boundaries ought to be broken.
Yes.
Because if your most innovative people cannot design your bridges, and they can't build your cars for you, who are going to build the cars? We have somehow sanitized the system and taken away those who are creative, those who can memorize, and we told them they are dumb. They don't know anything. They don't even get to go to senior high school until free senior high school came because, oh, no, you didn't do well on the BC, and then we introduced what is called the cutoff. Some of you don't understand cutoff. The cutoff was simple. At the end of the year, Ghana Education Service will send a letter out to headmasters asking them to tell GS the spaces that are available. So once they get the spaces, then they will look at the WAEC results, and then they will say, okay, we have maybe 400,000 or 450,000 who actually have passed and can go. But since we have only 300,000 spaces, we are going to peg the end.
And bold leadership during this pandemic. He has a clear vision as to where our nation needs to go. And therefore, he laid out a strategy for progressive opening of schools. This led, first of all, to calling back to school our WASI candidates. Those are those graduating from high school. They came, they prepared, they took the exams, and today his effort has been rewarded. And on Monday, BEC candidates are going to begin their exams. We pray for God's speed for them, God's guidance for them, and we pray that everything will go well. The government has done everything possible to put them in a place where they will safely take the exams and pass out, as we say in Ghana, with flying colors. And at the end, as we are celebrating with the WASI candidates, we also celebrate with the BEC candidates. I wish them the best of luck, and I wish that we all support them in spirit and indeed so that their journey at the junior high school level and education will actually end with all of us congratulating them. Thank you. Education. We are training teachers now for 2 years with 1 year for teaching practice. Now we have 4 years, and that in itself is going to ensure that we have qualified and well-prepared teachers who can really help improve the quality of education. This government has also done a tremendous job ensuring that the vast majority of our youth has high school education, something that we've never done for many years since independence. And as I was telling you, there's a village in my constituency, or a town in my constituency called Eduaben. Next week, they are going to celebrate a great milestone. In the history of Eduaben, they only have maybe 4 students going to high school. And this year, they have 50 students who have graduated from high school. And it's a cause for celebration by the town folks And I think across the length and breadth of this country, many communities are celebrating such an accomplishment. And of course, had it not been for the leadership of Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, this celebration will not be coming to pass. So we are grateful to the President, and we are grateful to the New Patriotic Party for their vision and for their support. And to all Ghanaians, we are grateful that we supported the President to reach this important milestone. And as I've said, on December 7th, education is on the ballot. And if we cast the right vote for education, the nation's fortunes will change. Because, you know, in the 21st century, education is not just a piece of the puzzle, it's the whole puzzle. Nations that do education well transform their fortunes. Thank you.
Government of the Republic of South Africa and the people of the Republic of South Africa, we are quite encouraged and happy to see the relations between the Independent Institute of Education, which is partnering with the Jackson Institute of Innovation and Leadership. I'm quite sure that, as I've indicated earlier, that Africa cannot be a passenger in the fourth industrial revolution. And in order to be an active participant, we need partnerships where we share best ideas, where we have the twinning of institutions of higher learning. This partnership, I'm quite sure it will go a long way in developing skills, sharing ideas, and making sure that we have an organic intelligentsia and organic research institution, organic African research institution that will contribute towards the development of the African continent. Look, we are talking about the Africa Economic Integration Agenda. If we are going to talk about that, surely you will be aware that we will need roads for connectivity. We will need an infrastructure that is not based on the extraction of our raw material, but which will be based on connecting our markets. What do? We need people who will draw these things, who will innovate, who will do research, market research, whether it's in business and other related sectors. So the minister was also talking about the question of tourism. How do we do that? We must be connected. Surely if we want to grow the economy, you will be looking in the tourism sector, you'll be looking at the local tourism around the area where you are at, and then around your city maybe, and then around your region, and then around your country, around the West African region, and around Africa. So we must promote intra-Africa tourism. And then in the same instance, we must encourage each other to innovate. The relationship between the South African Institute, Independent Institute of Education, and the Jackson Institute of Innovation and Leadership, I'm quite sure that it will bear fruit. It will contribute positively towards Africa participating actively in the fourth industrial revolution, where we will see the Made in Africa mark becoming a mark of excellence, where we begin to compete with other continents and other markets or other continents in the area of innovation and creativity. So I'm quite sure that this will go a long way in achieving that objective. Thank you.
We have established an annex institution to Jackson Educational Complex, which runs Jackson College of Education, which I am the principal of the college. We have had partnership with Independent Institute of Education in South Africa. They are the biggest providers of education in the whole of South Africa and Southeast Africa. And they have come to West Africa to partner with us to also train the children in Ghana or students in Ghana. Their mode of operation is that they combine academia with technology, industry, and skills. So when you register By the time you complete, you have a job market, you know where you are going. What they do is that when even you come, some of them, they are training all Olympic sporting participants in South Africa. So they hope to come and establish one of such department in Ghana, whereby they will train people swimming, boxing, athletics, and so on and so forth. We have our lecturers from South Africa, and they will lecture directly to us here. The institution is online, and we also have a studio. With the studio, when someone is lecturing all over the world, wherever you are, you see the lecturer, and everything goes on throughout the whole world. What makes us very happy is the idea that they want to train people for leadership, for the job market. And we know when we start this program, it's going to help a lot of people in Ghana. We will no longer have unemployed graduates in Ghana. Anybody coming out, either you are a chartered manager, a chartered accountant, or whatever you intend to be, you will achieve before you leave. Again, we also have partnered with NIIT in India. So we have JEC-NIIT. And the courses they are going to run is not being run by IPMC or NIIT that we know. It's a completely new programs to prepare people for banking sector and other places. So this is what we intend doing in this facility.